Are you a clean freak these days? Wondering if you're clean enough? Wonder if the people you come into contact with are clean enough for you? You don't want to spread germs and you don't want to catch germs or viruses. But what about your own heart? Are you clean in the eyes of God? And how do you view those around you, especially your brothers and sisters in Christ? Are they clean enough for you? Are you concerned about their life? Our reading today comes from John 13, when John tells the story of Jesus washing his disciples' feet. The chapter starts by saying that Jesus, knowing his hour had come, that he would depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Of course, when we think of the love that Jesus had for the world, we think of him dying on the cross. And when we think of Easter, we think of that Last Supper where he took the bread and he broke it and he shared it with his disciples and he passed the cup around and they all shared of the cup. And he said it symbolized his broken body and it symbolized his shed blood. Now, John's gospel is unique in that he doesn't tell the story of the Last Supper like the other three gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. But Matthew, Mark, and Luke also don't tell the story of Jesus washing his disciples' feet. John puts that in the place of the Last Supper. It's a substitute. And we have to think why. Why did John feel that told the same kind of message for us? When we think of heroes and leaders, many revolutionaries die an untimely death. They die for their cause, but have they truly loved their followers? See, Jesus' death wasn't an accident. He wasn't charging ahead without any thought, and he got caught and unfortunately died. No, his whole purpose, the whole goal was the cross. His whole life was about sacrifice, and it wasn't just a sacrifice of death, it was a sacrifice of life. And he did it to the utmost right here in John 13 when he took off his outer garment and he wrapped himself in a towel and he poured water into a basin, and one by one he washed his disciples' feet. And he said, "You call me teacher and Lord, and you're right, for so I am." But he says, "A slave is not greater than his master, nor is one who was sent greater than the one who sent him." You know, the disciples were constantly fighting over who was his number one guy. And so he settled it once and for all. When he says a slave is not greater than his master, well, their master just got down and took on the role of a slave. And he said, basically, you need to do the same thing. When we talk about our faith and our boldness, we all would say we'd gladly die for our faith. But how many of us would really live for one another? Live that life of service. And that's what Jesus called to do. We have these lofty dreams of dying a martyr's death, but what he's calling us to do is live a servant's life. How can you wash a brother's feet today? Be humble. Be hopeful.